cases. And first, before we get into the webinar, I want to introduce my esteemed panel of presenters. The first is Vinayan Vallapil, who is the Vice President of Enterprise Architecture with one of our top channel partners, LumenData. Vinayan again has decades of experience in the MDM field and many decades of experience in Informatica solutions. My name is Manoj Tate. I'm based in Chicago, and I'm the Global Partner Director for all things MDM. And my esteemed colleague who is going to co-present today with Vinayan is Ari Pedavi. Ari is actually also a global practice leader for master data management in the digital supply chain and product segment of our product portfolio. And Ari again has got, I don't know, maybe 20 years. I've known Ari for a long time, but I can assume he has got at least 20 years of MDM experience, a lot of it focused on product and supplier domain. Just some housekeeping items. We will have time for live Q&A at the end of this session, but if you have questions that come along as you see the presenters, please feel free to jot down your questions in the Q&A tab down here, and one of us will try and answer those questions as the presentations are going on. But then again, if you want to ask direct questions of the presenters, just wait till the end, and you will have enough time to ask those questions. As far as the agenda is concerned, I think we have kind of split it into three parts, if you will. The first part, Ari is going to establish the need for why Product 360 to meet the compliance for IDMP, which is identification of medicinal products. So he'll walk you through what is IDMP, how product domain fits into it, and what the benefits are. And the second part of the presentation would be Vinayan talking about specific customer implementation. So Ari would have established the use cases for IDMP, and Vinayan will give a practical example of how he used Product 360 to solve an IDMP problem with an actual customer. So he'll talk about his implementation experience. And the third part of the session would be a live demonstration of the IDMP solution. And again, at the end, we will have some time for Q&A. So without further ado, I would invite my colleague Ari to take us through the IDMP overview. Ari, over to you.
Great, thank you, Manoj. So let me, before I get into the details, delving into the details, I do want to step back, just share a couple comments here, or make a couple points here. One is that we, as Manoj alluded to, is that we are the leaders in the data management for over 25 years, and our solution has been modernized to SaaS and built an AI foundation. However, in top of all of this is one of the practices that we do with Informatica is that we have what is called the industry package solution team, and these are it's a team dedicated to build package solution that we work with many different companies in many different verticals, whether it's in life science, there's in the healthcare, whether it's in the financial services, retail, and so forth. And the team itself also work directly with domain experts, with standards, with customers through our experience over the years. And one of the things that we do, we constantly create these package solutions, and that are meant to enable companies to jumpstart in their journeys into the data management. Oftentimes, companies are solving these use cases one by one, but here it's more of a, hey, if you have a data management practice in place, this could be just built in a package solution that could be plugged into their data management, or this could be an opportunity to start the data management, to start their data management journey. So again, these package solution can go a long way. Is that the fact is that we work with standards and to deliver these types of solution. Obviously, for our standpoints, is a competitive differentiator for us to deliver those things. And most importantly, it's a proven solution that we work with these standards. We work with domain experts to deliver this, and most importantly, we also work with our customers to design those. And just kind of give you a quick preview of a few of them. As an example of package solution that we've built is that if you look at companies, is that there's a lot of changes, modernization happens, transformation happens, and so forth. So, for example, we have package solution that are companies that goes through ERP modernization, SAP modernization, and we have a solution, for example, for extension on the Google BigQueries, whether you're looking at mastering location, materials, suppliers, and so forth. So if you look at on the right-hand side, if you look at in the life science, we have where you can manage your healthcare providers, the payees and HCO and HCPs. We have package solution for legal entities, and we have, and the one we're going to be talking about more specifically is the Product 360 for life science, which is really the IDMP, identification of medicinal product. All right, so in the life sciences companies, in the world of life science companies, they are increasingly leveraging digital transformations to drive advancement across their operations, whether are in the areas of growing revenues, whether they wanted to accelerate R&D for clinical trials, whether it's in the area of enhancing manufacturing efficiency and supply chain, to areas of complying with regulation. In the recent years, is that being able to meet the ESG standards for the corporate goals, and also continuously managing the merger and acquisition typically happens. And of course, in our site, today's session is that we're going to be really focused on the how compliance becoming an essential aspect of the digital transformation for these types of company, which is really the IDMP. All right, so give you a little bit of background on IDMP is that, well, IDMP stands for Identification of Medicinal Product. It's a defined set of standards that been that were developed by ISOs in order to standardize the definition of medicinal product for human use. And so in simple, if you look at it, it's really to track and trace all these medicinal products that have been used, whether it's in the region, whether it's global, whether it's for any other global purposes. So these regulation, it did involve a lot of health agencies throughout the world, whether you're looking at the EMA in Europe, whether you're looking at the FDA in US, Healthcare Canada, and quite a bit other healthcare providers or bodies, they were involved in this whole process. And the first adoption was actually happened in the EMA, which is what EMA did is that got in to implement what is called the SPOR, the set of standards, domain standards. We get into detail shortly. However, in the FDA, that's a long term. Is that for them to align with the IDMP? There's not currently no dates been involved, but it's fairly sure it's going to be fairly soon. However, there are a lot of the overlap that is happening in the PQ CMC standard that's happening in the US, which is really the pharmaceutical qualities and manufacturing controls that they have in place. But keep in mind that all these life science companies and pharmas are working globally. So one way or another is that these things needs to be adhered to, because a lot of companies are working in different regions. And for example, if you're selling in the EMA standards, then you have to meet the regulation and so forth. In addition to all of that is that the US or FDA and EU did endorse the HL7 or HL7 for exchange the healthcare information. And again, that HL7, it meets the FHIR standards for that whole support as well too. And now let's take a step closer on these 5 standards within IDMP. Obviously, when you look at these standards, there's 5 areas, which is really the medicinal product identification. There is the pharmaceutical products identification, which is called the PHPIDs. And for the first one, it's MPIDs. And then you get into the identifying the substances, and then define set of dosage form, unit of presentation, and those pieces that are defined for medicinal products, and then finally the unit of measurements. So there are crucial data elements and structures that are defined to uniquely identify these medicinal products. The other piece is that there are a set of common vocabularies for the communication side of things between people, companies, agencies, and so forth. And then obviously HL7, the common standards for exchanging that information. There are a lot of benefits when you look at in the IDMP, and these benefits are not just for the healthcare providers and patients, but as well as also for the pharmaceutical companies and life science companies. And if we look at in the 5 segment areas, for example, if you look at on the safety side of things, they want to be able to easily or identify and assess the patient safety. And this is being enhanced in the pharmacovigilance oversight. And in other words, is assessing and preventing the adverse of the medication that are happening to everybody. They wanted to better surveilling the falsified medicine that is happening out there, or the counterfeits. The other piece is that they want to improve the global supply chain, especially when it comes to product quality issues and risk that is happening on that side. In addition to the safety, then in the area of the shortage or medicinal product shortage, well, first you want to be able to easily find alternative products. And secondly is that you want to be able to identify equivalent types of products, whether it's across regions or across different markets that is happening also. Number 3 is that being able to exchange information correctly and sharing the information, and those could be sharing, making it easier to do this within organization themselves, between the manufacturers of the products and the healthcare providers side, to define set of standards to improve the global interoperability and communication. Is that the same exact drugs that has been used in Canada could be used in US, it could be used in Canada or Europe, or it could be even down to the whole substances that makes up in these types of medicinal products that have been used. And then also it makes it easier for regulators and healthcare institutions to work very closely together to develop shared common systems. Number 4, it's all about on the data quality, better alignment, and this is a key things for life science and pharmaceutical companies is that it's a starting point to look at more of a data management play, is that single source of the truth for all the medicinal products, for all the pharmaceutical products, which contains a product for all the substances and active ingredients and so forth. Obviously, that leads to reduced cost in case of productivity, greater productivity, or increased confidence in the regulatory systems. And then obviously being adopted to set of metrics that has been used for assessing quality. Number 5 is really being able to compare products across regions for pricing and reimbursement, and this is from both angles of it, the consumers as well as the providers, and then reduce the share cost of managing the same medicinal product information over. So in the summary, it really is maximize the benefit to cross-regional and global agreement on common substances and in dosage form that has been used. Sounds really beneficial, but there is a problem. It is not an easy task. It's fairly complex. And the reason it's complex, if you look at it, there's 2 areas to look at it. One is in the data and technical challenges. The other piece is in the organizational challenges. On the data and technical challenges, the problem is that oftentimes these product information are scattered across our enterprise, and there are very good reason for it. You have different functions, you have different regions, you have different phases of the actual products, you have different stakeholders, whether somebody is in the marketing, whether somebody's in the scientists, whether you're looking at the legals and so forth. Informations are inconsistent because there are different functions, different owners, different standards that are, or different applications. So you end up what's happening to the companies is there's a lot of sources of their data being inconsistent. There are issues around being able to support different format, quality of the data. Data's been missing, or it's not being defined as certain standards that are needed. There are no common vocabularies. There is not much of a lot of times companies don't have an end-to-end integration across all of their data. In some cases, we've worked with some pharmaceutical companies, and they said, listen, we can't even find that data. We don't know where that information is, or is that in a particular region. So you can imagine is that it's beside even the data being scattered, is that really finding it, define the standards, and bring everybody else together. And this is where you can get into the organizational challenges. Are there processes that oversee this? How's the change management been handled? What about the participation and sponsorship that, and most importantly, it's a timeline around those things. And what I would like to do is that I want to invite Vinayan to share some of the experience that have done on his own experience with implementation. Vinayan?
Thank you, Ari. Yeah, there are a lot of challenges, when you do an IDMP implementation. I would like to focus on one challenge that we faced. So if you look at in the pharma company, the data for IDMP come from various source systems within the organization, right? And the systems are managed by different departments, different stakeholders. So you're looking at 150 to 300 fields of data distributed across the system. And integrating this data from the diverse systems, not just pose the technical challenge, right? It comes with a lot of business process challenges. So to overcome this, we encourage to have a seamless sponsorship, right? That is a must to, to recover all this process challenge. So that's a big learning that we have from one of our implementation. Back to you, Ari.
Awesome. Thank you, Vinayan. So now let's just take an example of some customers that we worked with over the years, and also help them on this types of this journey here. And one of the things that we learned early on is that when you look at the actual drugs, or making the drugs or the products, is that the information, just the nature of them, it's scattered across the enterprise because of the life cycle. So as we mentioned, it could be different functions, it could be different regions, it could be different systems, and so forth. So if you look at a particular drugs, is that it might be the life cycle of the drugs. It start in the area of basic research and discovery. That's where the scientists, they do all the discoveries, and they have some systems that are designed for those. And then whether the products moves on into the next stage of investigational, becomes an IND, which is, still not obviously a commercial product, drugs, but it's more in investigational phases. It goes through the clinical trials, and it goes to commercial manufacturing. Then it goes to the product launch and towards indication awareness, and all of the information that continuously being updated. So you can see here, it's that it's a life cycle. It's an entire life cycle that a lot of that information that goes back and forth with these standards needs to be defined somewhere. The reality is many different systems. It's many different owners of these data. So the challenge is that you end up with what is called the fragmented governance and master data. Different views, different definition of what it is. It creates that complexity and redundancy, and the fragmented data ownership of that data to establish any level correlation for any of these attributes that are needed for the enterprise-wide. So, and the other piece is that around the lineage of these products and traceability across, whether you're in R&D, whether you're in commercial, whether you're in regulatory, and so forth. So that's the good news with IDMP. It really breaks it down in more of a structural way, is of what is called classes and attributes. So if you look at in the IDMP pieces, we mentioned on the ISO standards, but if you look at the classes and attributes, now you're looking at more, well, there are medicinal products. And there are, obviously, there's a definition around what really medicinal product is, but the point of it is to prevent diseases and all the information that really needed at the medicinal product, whether you're looking at the classification, whether you're looking at the different naming for the actual products and so forth. Those medicinal products contain clinical particulars of these. What are the undesirable effects? What are the contraindication, therapeutic indication of these medicinal products? These medicinal products also include what is called the pharmaceutical products, which is the PHPIDs products. And those PHPIDs, they have their own ingredients and substances that is used with these pharmaceutical products. And these pharmaceutical products could be used within the medicinal products, or could be used across many, many different medicinal products. And then we'll address one of those examples of how, for example, taking a look in Advil and ibuprofen could be part of multiple different products. But think of it as that's more of a pharmaceutical product. And then you get what is called the PCID, or the product, the packaging. This is how things get manufactured and in production lines, and things comes in package and sleeves and syrups and so on. And then there is the areas of the marketing authorization at any level that needs to be done. And then obviously there's supporting documentation that are needed as a part of the requirements for the medicinal product. The other important, which is really the vehicle, is around the SPOR data services. And just SPOR is, I think of the SPOR as a way of going from the old world of submission through XVMP into the whole IDMP world. That's the vehicle behind it, is the SPOR. And what really SPOR is that it stands for substances, products, organizations, and referentials. And these domains are being used by EMA for IDMP. And as I mentioned, it's the purpose of it is to provide the high quality of that data management portion of it. So if you look at any substances, you're looking at harmonizing data and identification that are used for these ingredients across all the medicinal products. So being able to define certain level of name and codes that are being used, because each region oftentimes don't have different, there are no standards when it comes to these IDs being defined at the substance level. If you look at the product level, and these are uniquely identify what regulated information is, what is the marketing authorization for that product, what's the packaging, what's the medicinal information. The organization, this is everything from regulatories to sponsors to distribution to manufacturers and so forth. So being able to coming up with a standard around how to kind of manage organization. And obviously the last one is around the referentials. And these are control vocabularies, where there's dosage form, unit of measures, and route of the administration. Here's also the opportunity. The great news is that if you think about it, if adhering to the IDMP with the goal of building a connected product data architecture framework, because the same information is going to be used across many, many other opportunities that a lot of life science companies are looking for. So worked with a lot of companies that are looked at it, says, all right, we need to define our product and data enterprise to use for IDMP, but opportunities is that where I want to get into research, I want to be able to repurpose that whole practice for example, for clinical operations, for supply chain optimization and manufacturing, to pharmacovigilance and so forth, because that either collectively or subset of those data are needed to be used across these regions or purpose or functions per se. So what we've done at Informatica is that we took our best of breeds, our SaaS solution, MDM SaaS, and we built what is called a package solution for IDMP. So we provide the implementation framework for this product data ecosystem. It gives you a complete pictures of what medicinal product is. Whether you're looking at the ingredient side of things, whether you're looking at the substances, whether you're looking at even the spores around it, pharmaceuticals, and so forth. It also maintains all the clinical particulars, marketing authorization side of things. It also established what is called the all the relationship or hierarchies that are needed for that classification or that IDMP requires. And then obviously enable the streamline of exchanging that information, because that's ultimately, you're doing all of this to prep it, but making that data available across the lobes and so forth. So within our package solution, here's what it comes with it. Just breakdowns of it is I start with the data model. The data model comes in with what is called medicinal products. There is the pharmaceutical product. There is what is called packaging products. All the relationship that are needed. There is a list of information around the SPOR on the reference data, which is called the reference data within our solution. There's a predefined matching criteria, and in cases you have multiple ERP, you get that stuff, you have multiple PLM system, you're getting pharmaceutical information. So being able to match what each system is giving you, there are oftentimes you run into duplicates. So to overcome that, comes in with a match model. There's validation rules in place. There are relationships and hierarchy visualization, and there's also on top of that, there are dashboards that are provided as a way, a mechanism to look at this holistically, which we'll demonstrate during this session. So, not to get into details, but this just kind of give you an idea of how the data model's been breakdowns and the bits and pieces to the schema behind the scene. And this is just a quick example of one of the drugs, as I mentioned, is that in this case here, you'll see how PHP, which is the ISO 11616, it's connected to the medicinal products. So here you have an Advil on this side, and with the medicinal products, there's going to be ultimately it's packaged in certain ways and it's being authorized in the market. But if you take one of those capsules and look at the actual pharmaceutical pieces, which give you the whole ibuprofen, the substances, the dosage form, the strength of the actual pharmaceutical product, but keep in mind that same exact pharmaceutical product could also be used with another product. In this case here is Midol. But think of this as a way of seeing how what it looks like. And on top of all of this is that where SPOR becomes helping in those areas is that, define the standard. Is it really hard capsule? Is it a liquid capsule? Is it H capsule? So a lot of those things are being defined through these SPOR standards, that part of your model, you're solving all of these products for the whole submission. So I want to sum it up here with Informatica's SaaS solution is that comes in with the best of breed data integration. It comes in with the best of breed governance solution, because that will enable you to find data, scan your enterprise, identify, hey, how much data do I have? What's the quality of it? What do I need to do? And then you have this whole data model in place and all the relationship as I alluded to. And this will kind of get you from to end across the enterprise. So with that being said, I want to hand it over to Manoj for the next step.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Ari. So no matter how well our products are designed, how good our accelerators are, like IDMP, but really when the rubber meets the road, it's the actual implementation at a customer that determines the outcome in terms of whether the customer is getting business value or not, right? And our partners like LumenData are absolutely critical to that outcome. And I would invite Vinayan to talk about how Vinayan's company LumenData took the Product 360 IDMP accelerator that Informatica has built and actually did an customer implementation and made the customer successful. So Vinayan, I would invite you to walk us through your implementation success story.
Thank you, Manoj. As you know, many pharma companies have been working towards adopting IDMP standards to enhance the interoperability of the regulatory information globally, right? So the customer I'm going to refer is no different. So their primary use case is to organize the medicinal product data in accordance with IDMP regulatory standards for the regulatory submission, right? The regulatory submission is very important, for every pharma company. And if we look at globally, there are different regulators across the globe, have a different format, different processes. So the goal of IDMP to regulate that standard to a single standard, so it can facilitate, reuse of data, across different regulators, procedures, as well as, to speed up the process, right? So, so the second part is about, the speed of the international communication and help make decisions faster, right? So today, regulators across the globe have a different submission process, right? Allowing consistent information on medicinal products to be shared and reused across different procedures and among various regulators internationally would significantly reduce the duplication effort that is currently required for regulatory affairs, right? It's a huge task if you think about, right, globally. The pharma company, like an IT software company, when they build a product, it's deployed across the world, right? Similarly, a pharma company, when they have a product, it's been sold across the world. So you think about the level of regulatory affairs work goes into this globally, right? So having we would speed up the whole process and provide details to make the decision faster, right? Again, these are specific to the the pharma company that we work, but this applies to every pharma company which is global in nature. And to add to the the key point is we used Informatica's IDMP solution, which comes with, as I talked, data model, reference data, right? Some pre-built third-party integration, which help them to move faster. So the third use case is to prevent or reduce adverse drug reaction, and this is more on the safety side. So setting up the IDMP standard can significantly enhance the safety and efficiency of medicinal product, right? Through improved data quality management, improved traceability, and communication across the pharmaceutical supply chain and healthcare system, thereby reducing the incidence and severity of adverse drug reaction, right? The adverse drug reaction, cost a lot for pharmaceutical company, and setting up an IDMP standard will significantly reduce it because they are applying traceability, data management, etc. So these are the three primary use cases. First being the main, and second for speed up the international communication and drug awareness. I will go to the how we did it, right? If you look at the systems that contributing, right, to is typical IDMP processes are huge, right? There are 15 systems in this case contributing data to IDMP. This include multiple ERP systems, multiple regulatory systems. Again, regulatory systems, you have to provide the data for each regulatory authority. So you may have different regulatory systems within your company, right? Different PIM system to manage PIM, clinical trial systems, right? So data from all the system has to be bought in, stitched together in the data model that Informatica provides, right, with the IDMP standard. So the data come from different systems in a different standard, right? In an inconsistent way, people try to put the data. The data comes in different format. There are different reference code, different pattern, and all those are solved through the Informatica's data quality engine, right? So through the data quality as a gatekeeper, we put the right error handling, the right completion of the data, right standardization, which help consolidate the data in a consistent and a standard format to the IDMP data model. Discovering and identifying the key data is very, very important in IDMP project. With the data scattered across systems managed by different departments, different stakeholders, data profiling is very, very important at the beginning of the project. So data profiling and involving the business stakeholders, because to identify the right medicinal data to populate in the right structure is the key. And without the stakeholders' involvement, without the SMEs involvement from each department, each system, will not lead to a right outcome. So having the business involvement is very key in discovering, identifying, and collecting the data for in the discovery process. The next big piece that we helped or a little bit struggled as well as the reference data and lookup, right? So IDMP comes with its own standard, right? Again, Informatica's packaged product for IDMP comes with a reference data lookup, which is standard with IDMP, right? However, when you look at the customer's environment, they have different variations of this data across different systems, right? Bringing this reference data lookups to the Informatica's reference data and tying up with the right crosswalk is a key. And this is a time-consuming process where we have to work with each and every systems and department to make sure data is coming in seamlessly, right? Because again, we are looking at a global data. Every regulatory system has a different format today, right? And IDMP is going to standardize it. So there is a lot of work required to, to bring the reference data into the IDMP standard to consolidate the medicinal data, right? So in a nutshell, right, in a project, not only process the technical challenge, but also business challenge. So there are a lot of MDM projects that has been initiated with IT and only by IT. However, in an IDMP project, it is very, very important that business take the equal or more ownership in the project, right? It is very, very key. And for this customer, there are around 200 product attributes came from different systems, right? So coordinating with the multiple stakeholders, multiple departments is again a key challenge for this kind of a project. So I'll go to the next part, this data model, right? So again, the data model comes out of the box. Again, the standard is IDMP. So every customer who implement IDMP may have to go with the exact same data model. That's the whole point of having the IDMP implementation, right? So here the medicinal product refers to substance or combination of substance used for treating, diagnosing, or preventing diseases. And the pharmaceutical products are derived from medicinal product with the formulated information such as dosage form and route of information, administration, etc. Right? Again, medicinal product will have various derivation, and each derivation has different dosage form and dosage administration. Right? And the pharmaceutical products will have multiple ingredients. There are active ingredients, there are inactive ingredients, and these are again more than one, right? Multiple. And one or more ingredients are combined or bundled under the substance, right? So substance will have multiple ingredients towards it, and the substance will have various strengths as well. The manufactured item provide information such as batch number, manufacturing sites, etc. for the each ingredient. So basically, the IDMP structure provides a comprehensive framework to detail a pharmaceutical product's entire makeup for the final formulated product to the individual active and inactive ingredients, right? This ensures consistent and precise information for regulatory, manufacturing, and healthcare process. So using Informatica's package solution for IDMP and using LumenData's expertise in implementing this made this customer go live within a specific time without exceeding the budget, without exceeding the timeline. This was successful. And kudos to Informatica to come up with this structure with a pre-built integration, pre-built data model, pre-built reference data, which helps us to deliver this on time. So that's about our experience. Manoj, back to you.
All right, thank you so much. So I guess, as they say, seeing is believing. So far, you've heard about Informatica's Product 360, the IDMP Accelerator, how our partner LumenData has used the accelerator to implement at a customer and made them successful. Now we just want to give you an overview of what it is that the IDMP solution does with a live demo. And Ari is going to walk us through that. And hopefully you can relate back to all the things that Ari and Vinayan have said so far in terms of what IDMP is, what it does, and how it's going to benefit you and your customers. So Ari, please take us through the demo.
Awesome. Thank you. So let me switch my screen. All right. So let's do a few minutes. What I'll do is that I'll just kind of give you a quick overview. Obviously, we're open afterwards to get into details of this, but what's really important is that this is our cloud native solution. Every single service, whether you're looking at to find your data, discover it, clean it, curate it, connect it across enterprises, fully built in with our data management. It's and leverages AI behind the scene. On IDMP specific, as you can see here, I just logged in as somebody in the business side of things, and I wanted to know, okay, what's going on with my medicinal products? What are the authorized one? What about the pharmaceutical products? What about the substances and so forth? The solution is a persona basis, who you are. You get to see different things on the screen. Very simple. Just a quick highlight on the orientation. There is a series of things on the left you can do based on your permission and who you are. You can also have a quick access of all the different product set or levels of products, whether pharmaceutical, medicinal, and so forth. But let's walk through this just kind of quickly here. I am looking at my medicinal product. I see some products being authorized and some are still under the investigational. I might be looking at, are there recalls on any of the ingredients or substances? Are there, where's still I have it pending, the product's not been submitted? So these dashboards you can easily design and configure. But let's go ahead and take a look at my medicinal products. 4 of them are being marketed, and there's one still investigational, basically. If I look at these, let's go ahead and take a look at one of the marketing or authorized medicinal products. So in this case here, it's my Tylenol extra length. And if you look at this, this is the NPID. This is the actual medicinal product. I have all the information that I need, from clinical indicators to the contraindication that are needed at the medicinal products. All these data elements are, and if you look at is this product being authorized? And when did it happen? Who is the market authorization holder is? All of that stuff. What about the country jurisdiction information? What about the statuses and so forth? So this is all blunt in the data model that we were kind of alluded to as well too. The other piece I want to highlight is that if you look at, for instance, you look at these dosage form, yes, it says it's a tablet and powder for oral solution. These are the SPOR standards we were kind of referencing earlier today too. Most likely, or a lot of companies that we worked with over the years, is that they have this as, they have an abbreviation for this. In some cases, they have tablets, soft capsule, hard capsule, H capsule, so you end up having what is called the variation of these. For example, I'm just in a dosage form. So there's a lot of these lookup and references that are going to be used that are going to be required to do the submission accordingly to the standards. However, in your ERP system and PLM and QMS and all these systems, there's going to be different variation of it. So you need to be able to easily map your standards to the SPOR standards. And this is, whether it's in the US or globally. And that's the other beauty of the actual solution itself. But let's carry on this specific medicinal product. This medicinal product also, it's based on what is called pharmaceutical product, which is here is acetaminophen, and this is a product itself. If I look at how is this product packaged, this Tylenol? Well, it comes in the 700 tablets and it comes in the 100 tablet. So a better view of it, let's go ahead into the relationship view because I can visually look into that. So this is my Tylenol, and I can see here, are the two packaged products that I have. And this is my, the acetaminophen product. Let's go ahead and take a look at this specific acetaminophen. And I open it up. This is more of all the information that you need at the PID levels. You're looking at the ingredients information at this level. You're looking at, for example, what are the dosage form at the pharmaceutical level? What's the route of administration is for this pharmaceutical product level? If I go back to my, back to my medicinal products, and now I can look at, well, this specific product has been packaged in two different, the 700 tablet and the 100 tablet. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Well, here, now you're looking at the packaging side of things. This is where you're looking at the GTN side of things, or PMCID. You're going to be looking at completely different set of attribution and fields that's going to be required at this level. And I'm going to look at the shelf life of this product. What are the components of the package? What's the batch ID number? What's the GTN numbers? Who's the GLN providers, and so forth. So you can easily see here, I'm going back to the medicinal product, is that now you can create all these domains that are related to each other in many different ways. If I look at this again, going back to the Tylenol extra strength here, it's like, okay, what are the cross-reference products that I could use or somewhat similar? I mean, obviously, this is going to be different from region to region. Now I'm looking at the relationship between the medicinal product to another medicinal product. Well, this medicinal product has its own pharmaceutical product, and so forth. So, and this is what makes it really powerful, is that a lot of these data elements at any levels, the relationship, it simply comes in with the solution. What I'll quickly do also, what I want to do, just quickly open up Reference 360 in a second. And the reason I want to do this is that because I showed an example of the dosage form just for one record, right? But let me just bear with me 1 second. Sorry. If I look at all the reference data that comes in for all the data elements of the few hundreds within across the different domains, you can now see all these different reference data that has been used. So for example, I can say, I can search for any information, or I can just click on my reference data at any given level, where I can see the list of information that is being provided. And so for example, if let's do the dosage form again, because I want to also highlight a specific example there. So perfect. So if you look at this dosage form there, these are the the reference data that is being defined by the standard. If you're looking at this here, I'm looking at the arsenal, it has a code ID that have been associated with. So when the submission happens, the IDs get communicated back, and so forth. But most likely in your system, you might have the names, or you might have the key, you may have the abbreviation, and this is not one system. It could be across multiple systems. And that's the beauty of the crosswalk comes into place, is that all you need to do is just map your reference data and these sources into this, and you'll have the crosswalk view into those. So again, kind of to quickly sum it up here, it comes in with dashboard, it comes in with business entities, it comes in with relationship, it comes in with the connectors of the HL7 as well too. Not to mention, you can have all these reference data that comes with it. And then most importantly, you can take advantage of the data management to do more. Whether you now want to use first to go discover your data, whether you wanted to look at, hey, how do I bring that data into the system and from my sources? So these are core principle of data management that comes in with our IDMP model. So with that being said, I'll hand it over for Manoj to do the close.
Thank you. Thank you, Ari. And again, if we run out of time, I want to make sure that I thank each one of you for joining us today. I know you could have spent your hour doing other things, but we are glad you decided to spend the hour with us, and hope it has been informational for you, that you can take this information to your customers. As a leave behind, we have content that we have developed that you can download in terms of the value of IDMP in life sciences. Informatica's own public website has information on our presence in the life sciences industry that talks about IDMP as well as other use cases. And last but not the least is the announcement that we have another webinar coming on July 30th, and you'll have a registration link in this on MDM 360 for life sciences. So it talks about not just IDMP, but broader applications of MDM in life sciences. I know we had left some time for Q&A. Before I open up the Q&A for live questions, there are a couple of questions that that are queued up here on the Q&A list that I would like to ask of either Vinayan or Ari. Ari, the first question is, can you assign individual record to particular team to enter data? Also set of columns to a specific group as well.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things is that you know, we worked with some pharmaceutical company a few years ago, and they said, hey, Ari, first we can't even find the data. We have PDF file that we did the submission over the years, and we wanted to do this as more of a data entry creation happen in MDM, and then down the road we want to be able to go find the sources and bring that data in. So you want to being able to orchestrate a workflow process, and those could be different teams, different individuals with the different products, different regions. You can absolutely orchestrate any types of workflow.
Awesome, thank you. There's two more questions. Yeah, go ahead, Vinay.
No, just to add some color to it, right? The Informatica has the workflow capabilities, which can be assigned to a specific group roles, right? Who can work on a specific data set, right? Medicinal or pharmaceutical. You can dice and slice based on the individual's role as well as which data part that you want to work on.
Yep, that sounds right. That sounds about right. Ari, there is another question. Maybe you've started to answer, but just for everyone's information, maybe you can answer it again, which is, how did you identify if the product is the same from all the source systems? Was there a common unique ID? And I'm guessing I'm sort of inferring that is there some kind of a matching capability?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. So it depends. So what happened in the matching criteria is that if you look at the substances and if you look at the products, if you look at the organization, the criteria is going to be completely different. So one of the key proposition of our IDMC or MDM SaaS is the matching engine. You get to define first. You can be a rule-based. I want to look at combination of list of fields for me to do the actual linkage, because my source IDs are completely different. In some cases, you may say, well, for my packaged products, because they're G10, it's easily, I can say, link them together. But in some other cases, you may want to look into characteristics of these substances for you to determine that. And then on top of it, we do also have the AI that could be also used on top of the rule base for the actual matching.
Awesome. Thank you, Ari. One last question in there, and then we'll open it up to live questions. What security features does Informatica P360 offer to protect sensitive life sciences data, so PII data or any other confidential information?
I'm sure just at the very high level is that the solution is RBAC and IBAC.
Live, are there assuming that we're still live, are there any live questions that anyone wants to ask? Oh, we just saw a new question pop up. Maybe this is for you, Vinayan. How long does it usually take to implement Informatica P360 in a life sciences organization?
Good question. So, every company, the use cases, the number of systems, number of record, the complexity changes. So there is no, a specific answer, but it may take any time between 4 to 8 months based on the use case, based on the complexity and whatever. So you can think about 16 weeks to 26 weeks, somewhere in between.
Very good. All right, we want to leave at least a minute for live questions if we have any, because we are almost at time. Does anybody have any live questions? This is your time to speak up. I guess we don't. So that should be a wrap then. I think, again, I want to thank everyone for their time, and especially for Vinayan and Ari for your time. This is excellent information, and hopefully it's useful to our attendees as well. With that, I guess it's a wrap. And again, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
See you.